Boy, am I bored. Bored. I've been here in this keep for way too long. I gotta go out again. To do what? Who knows? One can only steal from their own keep for so long, with those they've conscripted to flutter their every single whim, before they start getting bored again. But what to do? Oh, I know, I haven't seen my benefactor in a while. Perhaps I'll go out and find him, see what's up, and who knows, if there's a video in it for me, then maybe I can get some surprise capsules. Oh, now I'm just excited to think of what I might get next this time. Yeah, maybe I'll go out. Hey, you in there! Oh, not him again. Alright. Well, right now I'm in my meditation room, so I may as well just sneak out. I'll slip out quietly through the cracks in the door. Then after that, it's just short hop, skip, and a jump, and I'll teleport away. But I'll deal with that guy later. He's always coming in here trying to free my servants. But I'm out of here. I wonder what my benefactor's up to. Guess I better check on him. Seems the door's already open. Neato. Guess that means they don't have to teleport into his house or use my pass key. He really should not leave the door open. Out of politeness. Hey, you in here? Don't you have some sort of video you want me to actually film the script for? I mean, I had a... Ah! I see. Yes, the future is looking bright already, isn't it? The future looks very wonderful. So full of hope, unlike times of today. Hey, but I wonder... What the heck are you doing? Oh! I see that you've caught me at a rather interesting time. I'm actually about to make my predictions of the future. Predictions of the... Oh, come on. Yes. If you'll just stand right over there filming, I'm going to tell the world my predictions for the future of the next, I don't know, 100 years or so. Things that I know will happen, and things that I know will be of great use to society. Also, it's nice to have some hope when the news is all just doom and gloom. Look, please, just let me take the script, write down your predictions, and I'll read them out to the world, okay? Why? I act determined in everything. Just trust me in this one. And alright. In a little while, my benefactor will give you my predictions of the future. Good luck out there. I'm back. Now let's get started. Predicting the future. Boy, is this fun, ain't it? For as long as humanity has existed, we've always been trying to look into the future and see just what kinds of things would happen. And in all honesty, looking into the future really is fun, ain't it? Because nobody really knows what's gonna happen, unless you're a psychic, and even then. So if that's the case, what makes telling the future so interesting? Well, in short, looking back at our predictions and seeing just which ones came true. And if Apollo was nice enough to give us the gift of prophecy that day, we can just look back at this and laugh, or wonder how the heck we were so prophetic to begin with. I mean, just look at glass door ovens for instance. Glass door ovens? Yeah, they weren't exactly thought of to be a thing that would even exist. In the 1950s, people just thought that ovens would just have metal doors forever. But by the 1970s, they were becoming more and more commonplace. And by the 1980s, they were barely even looked batted an eye at. Heck, in the 1950s, Tex Avery, a famous cartoonist, made a feature-length film called The House of Tomorrow. Within said film, and actually was made in 1949, but I'm just gonna count it as the 1950s, it was just an idea of what would the future be like 100 years from then. Most of this was just comedic and honestly not really anything to be taken seriously, but he did have a bit on glass door ovens, which,
This modern stove is equipped with a clear view door so you may look into your oven. Yes, sir. Looking through this little window, you can see everything.
let's see how well this theory is held up, shall we?
The future is now, thanks to science!
Needless to say, the guy was actually kind of accurate on this, wasn't he? Yep. But yeah, predicting the future, actually kind of fun. And this actually makes me want to try and predict the future myself. Heck, you saw me in my turban, didn't you? Okay, that wasn't actually me, I'm just reading from the script here, but you get the point. So yes, I actually would like to try and actually help out by showing my predictions for the future. Now, keep in mind two things. One, I am not a psychic, nor am I from the future, so I don't really know if any of this stuff is gonna happen. These are just my ideas on what might actually happen in the future given what we know now, within the next 100 years. Secondly, and more importantly, if any of these predictions do turn out to be accurate in the future, well, please be nice to my comment section and don't spam. Trust me, it would be funny if any of this stuff actually did happen, but don't bombard the comments with, "Oh my gosh, this guy predicted this immediately, this guy's a psychic." No, these are just predictions, not any actual, foretellings. Believe me, some people get enough of this as it is. I mean, have you seen The Simpsons? So, with that out of the way, let's begin with the predictions for the future. The first major prediction I've got today, and the one that you should probably take note of if you want to act as immediately as you can, is the stock market. The stock market, with all of its glory, with all of everything that everyone says will help you get rich quick, the stock market will crash. Again. Did you really expect anything less here? So, yeah, stock market's gonna crash, nothing you can do about that. If you have money in the stock market, get your money out of the stock market, fast. But otherwise, well, it's not all bad. For one thing, it actually does make for a fun game, just as the people at Nintendo who made Market Crashers. But, yeah, other than that, you're not really gonna be making any money. The most you're gonna be getting is a semi-free-to-play game-ish, where everybody in the world can buy coins to participate in the stock market, and buying coins will eventually allow you to make more money on the stocks if they do good, or lose all of your coins if they do bad. But again, it's nothing major, just a fun little game that people can play. If you've been to an arcade/casino, you have an idea of what it is, just that you can't exchange any of the coins that you buy with real money back for said real money. So it really is just for fun here. But speaking of money, the second actual prediction I have for the future is that for once and for good, we're going to have gold standard currency. Allow me to explain, This, to make a very long explanation short, basically all money on Earth is fiat currency, in which you absolutely cannot exchange it for gold or anything else of value. You can already imagine how this is bad, but it gets worse. Fiat currency, every fiat currency on Earth, the government can just print more of it. And not only do they print more of it, they print more of it consistently, not just to replace what was lost in, say, a fire or something. So as you can imagine, this is really bad. And yet, as the government prints more currency, it makes inflation. I'm pretty sure you know the whole song and dance by now, where your currency today is worthless tomorrow. Well, yeah, hyperinflation is really bad, and you'd think we would have learned the first 3 times, especially the first time in Germany, when it was literally used as fire starters or children's building blocks because it was not valuable for anything else. But I guess not. Anyways, gold standard currency. This will replace all the fiat currency on Earth, and better yet, this currency is worldwide. No more regional currency. Thank God. Very useful, ain't it? But yeah, the main thing about this currency, it's pretty standardized, and it wouldn't really be that much better or worse than any currency we have now. I mean, I guess it's better than the currency that are already starting to hyperinflate, and slightly worse than super cheap currencies, but to give you an idea, 100 gold equals 100 yen equals $1. So don't be too surprised when you hear that a shovel costs 500 gold and a pizza costs 2,000. Really, it's just $5 and $20 respectively. You'll also notice there aren't any faces on the currency, but that's mainly because humans are not infallible. That aside, now to actually move on to predictions that do not revolve around money, And I actually do have several of these. The future is now, thanks to science, so they speak, or so they say. Back in the past of the 1960s, the Jetsons predicted flying cars. Do we actually have those now? Well, the year is now 2023, and last I checked, pretty much every car on the highway that runs today cannot fly. That said, that's probably a good thing. I mean, let's be real. Do you really want to have flying cars in the hands of drunk drivers? I thought not. However, even if a future of flying cars is pretty much out of the question for both practicality and safety concerns, you know what actually is visible within our future and is in sight? Well, self-driving cars. Cars that drive themselves automatically. And surprisingly enough, with today's technology, it isn't that hard to make. And honestly, self-driving cars do seem like a very big convenience. Because, let's be honest, most people do not want to drive for hours and hours to get to places. If you can just have a car do that on its own, that'll be perfect. And yeah, I really do want to be excited for this. I do. But Yes. These cars must have been funded and built by the Tesla company. All kidding aside, I was actually in that world when something like this happened. Let's just say that I noped out of there as fast as I could. Before the cars could say, jump onto the sidewalk, or worse, crash into a building. That said, I later returned there for reasons I will probably explain in some later episode. And when I did return there, it turns out that the same kid who was just outside the Sunday shop I was in had actually stopped all the traffic lights. Congratulations, adults are so useless they have to rely on literal 10-year-olds to do the job for them. That said, yeah, you can imagine then, I can hardly be optimistic about flying cars. Did I say flying cars again? I can hardly be optimistic about self-driving cars when literal idiots who think entire companies are in charge of them. Yeah, I can only be excited for such things if I know that the person who's actually trying to create them is, well, competent. But speaking of technologically induced idiocy, it's no secret by now that many things these days have online connectivity. Yeah, to a somewhat idiotic degree. Why the heck would a juicer need Wi-Fi connectivity? Yeah, the world these days is kinda weird. But that means that things these days are also going to be incredibly easy to hack thanks to said internet connectivity. And this isn't actually anything new. The world of academia has actually made a name for this phenomenon, and it's called the Internet of Things. When the world of academics and college professors gets a hold of something and makes a name for it, uncreative as it might be, well, you know it's a problem, or at least something to watch out for. But more importantly though, since everything is online, that means that anybody who's actually good at hacking into things can cause all sorts of trouble. I mean, you already saw a traffic scenario, but there's so many ways that this can go wrong that it's not even funny. And since most things that do have online connectivity that aren't computers just do not have antivirus software pre-installed, well, let's be honest, we're going to need to be adept at virus busting. But even so, even if the world of Battle Network does come to fruition, and honestly it's scary how that game predicted all of this in the first place, well, even if all that comes to pass, I'm ready. Now, where was I before I got all interrupted with this again? Oh yeah, the next topic I was going to speak about. Now when you think of future inventions that really should have been invented by now, aside from flying cars, what comes to mind? If you think, where's my jetpack? Well, that definitely is a common complaint, but sorry, that's not what we're talking about here today. No, the big one here today is where's my hoverboard? We've seen them in movies, we've seen them in TV shows, we've seen them in basically any point of media where there's a smart talking protagonist, and of course we've seen them in the Sonic Riders. Yet, they haven't been invented yet. Or have they? The Lexus company did make a model hoverboard that works, kind of. Actually, it was a bit of smoke and mirrors, kind of, in that it only works on a magnetized track, and only works with liquid nitrogen, but I mean, it works. But then again, this was 8 years ago, and they still haven't actually made any real working hoverboards. I'm sorry, just engineers, get off your lazy behinds so that you can actually make these hoverboards. that run on air or whatever, make hoverboards that work, and then we can actually have our very own hoverboard races, please.
Still, how can a plank like that just float?
That's easy to explain. According to the Cutter-Joukowski lift theorem, the control surface flow is balanced by the inverse kinetics of the...
Stop! I get it, okay? It just floats, and that's good enough for me.
This would especially be fun and especially be useful in a sort of technological sport. Forget NASCAR. Do you know how many sponsorships that this would lead to? Yeah, it would be absolutely hilariously fun, wouldn't it? But speaking of bringing fiction into reality, a small tangent, if you will. Chris Hoffman, creator of Rhino Motors, the company that created the one-wheel bike. If the bike looks familiar, it should. It seems to be based off of one very particular bike from Kirby Air Ride. Hi, me again. Yeah, I'm in here in post during editing. Just realized. Apparently, the Rhino Motors guy who created, well, the Rhino Motors one-wheel bike might have actually been inspired more so by a certain other type of media rather than Kirby Air Ride, but then again, the only source I have to go off of is just one article from a somewhat unrelated source, and even then, the guy who actually created the thing, let's be honest, it could really go either way, because the only thing we have to go on is anecdotal evidence from an 11-year-old, so I don't know. Whichever is correct, whichever isn't. But yeah, I kinda don't want to be accused of spreading misinformation on the internet, so just thought I'd put that out there. Now back to the show. Those of you who owned, or at least have heard of the Nintendo GameCube have probably heard of this game, but yeah, the one-wheel bike that he made looks eerily similar to a certain wheelie bike, or perhaps the wheelie scooter or Rex wheelie, whatever. The point is, it's a version that actual people can ride and isn't just for, you know, a little pink puffball with stubby little arms and tiny feet, or a penguin? I think the lady's a penguin. Who has arms but also has stubby little feet. Point is, this thing is real. And you want to know the wholesome part? The guy who made this bike actually decided to make it thanks to the actual inspiration from his 11-year-old daughter. If that isn't wholesome, I don't know what is. And, yeah, it really is cool. Now, the only thing we need to do now is figure out a way to mass-produce these on the cheap, and also to make sure these things are, like, faster than 10 miles per hour, and we could actually have our own Kirby Air Ride races. Heck, forget Air Ride or Top Ride, we're talking city trial here. Just block off a section of New York City and there you go. Probably around the Rockefeller Center because, well, duh. Oh, and Masahiro Sakurai or whoever's working at HAL Laboratory or Nintendo, if you're looking for any sort of, I don't know, mass advertising ideas like this, feel free to steal this idea, please. I'll just take a small amount of the royalty fees, and after that, yeah. But what was I saying before I got all distracted by this again? Oh yeah. Where's my hoverboard? No, seriously, somebody get on making those, please. Then after that, finally, people can say that even without wings, they can still fly. Thank you, that is all. Oh, and whoever's out there, if you can figure out a way to make a wing star from Kirby's Air Ride, that'd also be fun because the thing looks so cool to fly on. Okay, let's actually move on to other topics now. Modern medicine! Without it, we'd probably be dying of all sorts of diseases, from dysentery to polio to the mumps to measles to You get the point. Lots of incurable diseases. Now, some of these are pretty easily tamed by just diet and exercise, but others, well, let's just say that there's a whole bunch of germs and viruses out there. And yeah. Now, way back 100 years ago, most people thought that we'd never have a cure for polio. 100 years later, we have vaccinations. Back 100 years ago, we also thought we'd probably not have no cure for tuberculosis. 100 years later, penicillin exists. And also antibiotics. So, point is, my prediction for the future, 100 years from now, is that we'll finally have antivirus pills. You might think that this is an absolute impossibility, but, well, no. When you consider that penicillin was invented by complete accident, yeah. Antivirus pills, they're the way to the future. Just take a few pills a day, and eventually your sickness will be cured. No, heck, take a few pills in a few hours, your sickness will be killed. But boy, could we have used something like this, 3 years ago. Hooray, 2020. All those germs and viruses, they make us very sick. Ick, get the penicillin. Hey, that doesn't work on viruses. We all must go find a cure for that. We all have strived. Enter antivirus pills. But for antivirus pills, no clue on what to do. We have a cure for AIDS, chickenpox, measles, and the flu. Antivirus pills, they'll cure all your ills, so long as you have a fever or the chills. Antivirus pills, they'll cure all your ills, so long as you have a fever or the chills. So, I do have tons more predictions I'd like to give all of you, but this video is going to be almost 30 minutes long by the time I finish all this, and in all honesty, if I just kept going, I'd probably have a video that's closer to an hour long. Yeah, that's not exactly going to be fun to watch, even if I am somewhat entertaining. So I'm going to have to cut things short with our final prediction. But yeah, if you thought my idea on antivirus pills was an idea, well, here's another prediction for you. So, out of all things, out of all ideas that humanity has had to deal with over the past who knows how many thousands of years, out of all plagues and stripes on humanity, out of everything that we've had to deal with within our collective humanity, out of all things that all people have had to go through in their lives that they have to worry about, the biggest problem in the entirety of the universe is the problem of world hunger. And as of until now, we are still no closer than we were yesterday to solving it. But soon, within the next 100 years, the greatest boon to the future will exist. The greatest boon to the future will be born once more. Not once more, but soon. How soon? Again, very soon. And we're very close. So what is this brand new part of the future that I'm bringing up on and bringing up so much fanfare over that I'm almost stuttering over my speech? Yikes. Well, the biggest point of the future, the biggest thing that we'll ever possibly get is food cubes! Edible food cubes! Yes, these are the means of the future. With these around, consider world hunger solved! So, what are these edible food cubes, you might ask? Simple. essential nutrition in a bite-sized package. Let's face it, we're now super close to making these. Why? Well, gummy multivitamins exist, don't they not? Not only that, but we also are able to synthesize pure nutrients. Gelatin is essentially fat, and protein shakes are protein in powder form. No need for that pesky meat if you're vegetarian. So, yeah, we're very close to making these. We just need to put them into the correct compact form. Way back when, most people thought that food pills would be the future. Let me tell you, no. Taking this from someone who actually does have to take multiple pills a day, let's be honest, if you had to force down like 1,000 pills just to keep yourself healthy, you'd probably just decide to eat a sandwich 3 times a day anyways. But yeah, these edible food cubes, these are way more convenient, and not only that, they give you the sensation of eating. Unlike a certain other thing I can think of, fuel, soylent, yeah. Anyways, these food cubes, they actually give you the sensation of eating because, you know, you can actually chew them, and they're also somewhat delicious. Why? Because you can basically make them whatever flavor you want. How do I know this? Well, let's be honest, once you actually add in pure protein, carbohydrates, fat, vitamins, and minerals, well, that's basically all your nutritional requirements required in a day. Just one question what the heck do the things taste like, and how the heck are they actually, is the texture? What's the feel of these edible food cubes? Well, honestly, I can see it being one of 2 ways. Either they're basically gummy blocks, and thus you can just eat them as if you would any sort of gummy candy, or fruit snacks. Unfortunately, this episode is not sponsored by the Welch's Fruit Snacks Company. Or these things are more pastry-like in mouthfeel. Either way you put it, just add in the required nutrient ingredients, then add in whatever flavoring you wish. For most people, this would just be, well, fruit, so it's basically a real-life version of the Pokemon Berry Blender. Or you could actually add in whatever essence of flavor you want. Heck, if you really wanted to, you could add vanilla extract if they were pastry blocks. Point is, these things are easy to make, and not only that, they contain all the nutrients in the world. And they can be mass-produced. Yeah, really. Just make sure to actually, properly meter out the nutrients, and there you go. Because, yeah, it actually is important to properly meter out 1 day's worth of vitamins and minerals, because fat-soluble vitamins and all minerals can be very dangerous if you take too many of them. Point being, this will solve world hunger, and it'd be very convenient for those to eat. Or those who forget to eat. But yeah, potential practical uses for this? Well, for one, it could help anorexics actually gain weight without the fear of, well, eating junk food. And it could also be very convenient for those who forget to eat or just don't have the time to cook. College students, anyone? And, of course, it could be used to actually be sent in places where we're encountering very severe droughts. Think the middle of the desert. All people in Africa would be so pleased. Well, any third world country really in any emergency situation, but you get the point. Oh, and did I mention that these things make for wonderful emergency rations? In short, food cubes, the way to the future. Now, we just need to actually get the funding to actually make these, but after that, consider world hunger vanquished forever. Oh yeah, if you do make food cubes in bulk, at around 1 cubic meter in size, and you make them in bulk at that size per batch, be sure to actually not overdo it when making things, or else we could have a Mr. Driller situation on our hands, and it may not end all that well, just so you know. Otherwise, food cubes, great idea, best idea ever invented. And so, my wonderful audience, my wonderful, wonderful audience, this is the end. Well, not exactly the end, but where I'm going to cut things short with our benefactor's wonderful predictions for the future. Honestly, all things considered, by my time, at least half of these predictions would have come true. What do I mean by my time? Well, I'll have to explain that much, much later. But anyways, yeah, that's the end of our little episode today. Or rather, this long episode. So yeah, that's the end of all this. I'll see you next time, and I hope that you all do well. This is the World Traveler signing not so fast. Who was that? I must be hearing things again. Guess again. Eek! Oh, how naive of you to think that I would just simply go away as soon as it was apparent that you weren't home. Well, I'm still here. And
You think I go away, but I'm still here.
would you excuse me a minute? I'm so sorry about that sudden interruption. Recently I had to fight a giant demon with a giant shadowy demon with a giant green face, and after I defeated him, I had to seal him into something before I could throw him into the nearest volcano, and well, this alarm clock was the only thing I had, and yeah, say no more. Anyways, the main question I have for you kind of startled me there, but the main question I have for you is, how did you get in here? You forget that I'm also a card user, haven't you? Blast those infernal cards! And, okay, don't stop me. Don't help me out. I've seen you before, I know it, because those cards are definitely familiar. I use those exact same cards myself, and allow me to stop you from trying to make 20 guesses. I am the hero of worlds. I am the traveler who travels to protect the innocent, to protect the weak, and to do things that no other has done before me. I am the one summoned to worlds to save them from the forces of evil. The flames of justice burn bright, for I am Isekai. Oh right, you, the guy with all the sword cards. What are you doing here anyways? Well, that's quite simple. I'm here to arrest you. Arrest! That's correct, my friend. Or should I say enemy? Now shall I do this the easy way or the hard way? This is the World Traveler signing out. Yeah. Oh, hey! It's that time again for sage advice from the man of many titles. Remember, kids, be sure to future-proof your game collection. Always buy physical media. And whenever that isn't possible and you must buy games digitally, then make sure that you keep your SD card well and keep your SD card secure. That is all. No, seriously, things always hold value so long as you take good care of them.